You create targets that are so ambitious that trying to achieve them with traditional tools is just impossible. I mean, Salman, you spoke earlier about your experience with Accelerator. I mean, being able to, achieve that kind of success within 100 days.
Yep.
If you were to, just to set up a project team, it'll take you 100 days.
Yep.
If you're going to do it, the traditional way. So, having those stretch targets, having those ambitious targets, immediately you're forced to think differently about the problem. It forces you to approach it from a different perspective, to look at new solutions, new ways of doing things. So in government, that's a very effective way of challenging teams to think differently.
And maybe again, if I can come back to Emirates Global Aluminium, I mean, you are in a competitive market,
Yep.
but you probably have some sense of how the government monopolies work. So is there a problem with that sense of urgency, that need to change when you're in a traditional government organisation?
I think, as I understand, the sense of urgency, because, if you look at Qatar, you're putting an impetus to do that. If that is really what the business challenge is, then by all means. But if you want to artificially create a sense of urgency, it's going to do very well in 2017. It's not going to be sustainable in 2018. You can't continuously say, there's something on fire and how we're going to do that.
You're nodding, Suzanne.
So it's not a sustainable model. Yes, if truly the markets are collapsing or something is happening, that's a different true thing, and everybody can read it in the Financial Times that this is happening. Don't just create it for the sake of creating it. Be honest, straight, and look at yourself rather than saying, these guys are not doing it. Just look at yourself as, what am I not doing?
It's an interesting point. I wonder, Suzanne, we talked about at the beginning the importance of innovation for being competitive, but is there a danger of making change for change's sake and actually damaging your business? I mean, have you seen examples of where actually, I guess there's the risk of not innovating, but then the risk of doing too much?
Yeah, I think there's always a need to ensure that you strike a good balance, you're always going to, ride waves as an organisation, but with clearly structured vision, mission, annual targets, people understanding what their own objectives are, and having a clear picture of what is expected of them, that even if there is a lot to do, I think if people understand how the size and scope of the task at hand, then people can better work a way to achieve the task. I think where organizations often may create dissatisfaction in their employees and thus lead to less productivity is when things are seemingly changing for no reason. And provided you can get the communication of these changes clear to all, and ensure that everyone is aligned from throughout the organization, that yes, a lot of organizations will have continuous incremental change, and it feels like everything's changing all the time. But we live in a very fast-paced environment now, and those who stand still will get left behind.
Absolutely.
And so we have to ensure that our employees are understanding of the fact that we are in an environment, especially in the UAE and Dubai, where things don't wait for people. You have to move forward at the pace of the environment.
Salman, when I asked the question about is there a danger of making change for change's sake, and you said absolutely. Is this something you have seen?
I have seen in some organizations which has come, they've spoken to us and they've gone back and put on their corporate dashboard this beautiful innovation, 10 of them. It's not even clear to the writer what that means. How is the management going to operationalize something which they are themselves not clear about? Innovation for innovation is a dashboard, and you were talking about, do we bring in consultants? They will give you the most beautiful dashboards which you can have on your desktop, your laptop, on your mobile, smart, and even on the car menu maybe. But what exactly is there? And that goes back to the original thing which we are a big believer in. When the leadership sets a target, they have to be personally invested in it. They're not just doing it for filling up the dashboard and making themselves look good.
You're both making the same point, aren't you?
Yeah.
That there has to be a real philosophy or
it has to
belief
be a purity of purpose. It has to be clarity of purpose across the organization. If it is not there, the middle management, they were going to give them this dashboard. The middle management was just simply would not know how to break down into doable KPIs. It's just a sad story, and some people get stuck in this thing and saying, oh, my guys are just not innovative enough.
I mean, it's important to note also that innovation really is a means to an end. It's not an end in itself.
No, it's not.
So keeping the eye on the ball, making sure that we're always working towards what the targets are, that's really your litmus test. Is innovation and the experimentation that goes along with that, is it getting you closer to your goals? And that's where you can measure whether it's change for change's sake, or if it's real innovation that's supporting the organization's outcomes.